How you doing? Frankie Russo show straight out of Brooklyn. What's poppin'? How you doing? So listen, for you tonight as always. March Madness is on the way. Pre-Bahara is out. And then we got a little nice some coochie action. I got to throw a little in. It's Frankie Russo. And then and unfortunately, they're claiming that we got a snowstorm on the way. So that's what we got going on. A little update on that. I didn't finish or quite frankly, I didn't even start my bracket. So hopefully tomorrow I'm going to do it. I lean Big East. I don't have any scientific probability forecast model, statistical model to make my decision making in a better, put myself in a better place with my picks. I just, I'm a Big East guy. Seton Hall University is I'm a Seton Hall University alum, so that's what I'm pulling for the hole. Hashtag hole in. You better believe it. So everybody, hopefully this blizzard, the storm they're saying that we're going to get hit with, hope it's only half of what they're saying. We hope. Okay? So that's where we're at. So we're going to move forward like we've been doing. Okay, so I got a few sidebars here. I found a few interesting. Years later, when Lois Lerner claimed that there was no targeting of the Tea Party and other conservative groups, 2 years later, IRS locates 6,924 documents related to Tea Party targeting. Free Beacon. Washington Free Beacon. I'm not going to get into all the minutia. The Internal Revenue Service has located 6,924 documents potentially targeting of Tea Party conservatives. The group Judicial FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, lawsuit for them. The watchdog group intended to find records regarding how the IRS selected individuals and organizations for audits that were requesting non-profit tax status. The agency will not say when it will make the documents available to the public. So that's interesting. That's to watch. Here's something we got to watch as individuals. Decline genetic testing could face penalties. Bill, Washington Post, no friend of Trump. So this is not fake news, Trumpocrat, you better believe it. It's interesting. Employers could impose hefty penalties on employees who decline to participate in genetic testing as part of workplace wellness programs if a bill approved by a House committee this week becomes law. In general, employers, I'm just going to read this paragraph. Employers don't have that power under existing federal laws. Genetic privacy and non-discrimination. But a bill passed Wednesday, past Wednesday, by the House committee, it had to be past Wednesday, on education and the workforce, would allow employers to get around those obstacles if the information is collected as part of a workplace. So that's something we got to watch for, because this genetic testing is, I don't know. I don't know if, I love science. I love physics, biology, chemistry, and all that. And I get the DNA testing and all that, but I don't know. So we have to find out more on this. Well, this is okay. I'm going to read this next paragraph. Such programs, which allow workers a variety of carrots and sticks to monitor and improve their health, such as lowering cholesterol, have become increasingly popular with companies. Some offer discounts on health insurance to employees who complete health risk assessments. Others might charge people more for smoking. Under the Affordable Care Act, employers are allowed to discount health insurance premiums up to 30%. You got to understand that I never read the bill. It's 3,000 pages, but in all intents and purposes, the reports coming out on this Obamacare is that it's unaffordable, imploding, and like for example, they were talking about South Carolina on Fox News today, and they were saying how there were 4 or 5 insurance companies, and now it's only down to 1 because they couldn't. The other 4 just couldn't afford it. They went out of business. They went out of business within. I don't know if they went out of business, but in South Carolina, they just couldn't afford it, so they only end up having 1. It's crazy. I mean, my big thing with Obamacare, quite frankly, is the individual mandate. I got a beef with that. All the other stuff. Work hard on my health. I watch my diet. And I do other things to try to help myself. And I go get checkups from now and then. So I try to watch myself. I don't drink. I don't do drugs or anything like that. So that's me, to put my healthcare in my hands. I try. It's not easy. Believe me, I'm not saying it's easy, but that's how I roll. So we'll see about this genetic testing and how it unfolds and what effect it has on us and on our healthcare as well. Here's an interesting one. This is a blog I thought was interesting. Just briefly, Trump is doing, this is I got to give the guy prop. This is McClaskeydc.com, and this is a Drudge report. Trump is doing what Obama didn't do: reach out and listen. Interesting. Elements of Donald Trump's political style are already emerging, and they must be discouraging to his critics. It's easy to miss things that don't happen, but perhaps you too have noticed a decline of trivial Trump tweets, starting spats and news cycles many mornings. Last week, are you sitting down? Trump canceled a couple of media availabilities. He provided his own NCAA tournament brackets, a free PR ride on Basketball Fever, annually seized by Obama. When reporters yelled questions at Trump now, he usually goes deaf, turning away to converse with others. Avoiding opportunities to use or fight with media has not been a Trump trademark since he launched his campaign 21 months ago. What's happening here, but also allows perhaps the media to focus. Yeah, so it's interesting. So he's claiming that at least he's reaching out, listening. Like he's got this Obamacare, the Obamacare replacement policies coming out of the House, and so it's interesting. I mean, this is the first time I'm reading this. This is by Andrew McCullum. So it's not totally positive on DT, but I it's at least it's being honest that DT is and listen, and that is the truth. So some of it is positive, some of it is negative. There's so much negative because I'm tired of reading all the biased media against Trump. So I took this because I know this. I took it off the Drudge website. Trump is doing what Obama didn't do: reach out and listen, and that is the truth. I'm not saying I agree with everything that's in this article. That's why I didn't read it. But he did make an observation saying Trump is doing what Obama didn't do: reach out and listen. He is. This one I found interesting. This is the first time I'm reading these articles. So, White House seeks to cut billions in funding for United Nations. This is a policy.com, great website. Foreignpolicy.com. White House seeks to cut billions in funding for United Nations. State Department staffers have been instructed to seek cuts in excess in U.S. funding for the UN programs, angling an unprecedented retreat by President Trump's administration from international operations that keep the peace, provide vaccines for children, monitor rogue nuclear weapons programs, and promote peace talks from Syria to Yemen, according to 3 sources. The push for such draconian measures comes as the White House is scheduled on Thursday to release its 2018 budget proposal, which is expected to include cuts up to 37% for spending on the State Department, Agency for International Development, and other foreign assistance programs, including the UN in next year's budget. The United States spends about $10 billion a year on the United Nations. I think this is great. There's a lot of graft and corruption going on with the UN that nobody really wants to be honest about. And I don't know if this is totally honest reporting by foreignpolicy.com, because I don't believe these programs are actually, I don't know. I mean, I have to, I'm on the outside looking at this. I'm not saying it's true or not, but I don't believe, I think that there's one thing I know on the UN and all that stuff. When the UN has given on the Economic Council Hamas a seat, a terrorist entity, I have a lot of problems with the UN. The way they handle Israel, the animosity against Israel, and I don't believe. I haven't actually sat down. I'm going to be honest. I'm an honest. Let me hate me. You know where I stand. I'm going to give it to you honest. I haven't actually sat down and actually studied and looked at all of the various programs of the UN. Actually got into the minutia on some of this stuff. So I can't honestly say that I have the facts to back up what I feel. I don't believe the UN is a very good organization. I think there's a lot of problems with the UN, a lot of leadership problems with the UN, and the wrong groups are running the UN. When Syria and I know that Hamas, the Hamas, Palestinian Authority Hamas, has a seat on the Economic Council. I think if I'm not mistaken, the Economic Council. I'll look for that for tomorrow. To me, and there's a lot of corruption, graft and corruption in these programs. I believe, I started looking in. I don't have the data to support that, obviously. There's a lot of problems with the UN, so I don't look at it the way this is presented here, but foreignpolicy.com. That's Frankie Russo. And now we got, as you know, we have a nor'easter coming, unfortunately, and it's about to unleash on us in at least 8 states. So we're gonna watch it, and hopefully it's hyped up, souped up, doesn't get anywhere. We're hoping. And I found this other one we're gonna watch. Why 3 rate hikes in 2017 may not be enough, by Gerald R. O'Driscoll, a senior fellow at Cato Institute, CNBC article, and is widely. We're going to watch this. I don't pull myself off as an economist, but I watch things, and when interest rates go up under the Obama regime, things were happening in a bad way. So I don't know what that means for now. Is it different or whatever? I don't know. The Federal Reserve is widely expected to increase the short-term interest rates it controls by 25 basis points. String of statements to that effect by Federal Fed governors and presidents, and now Fed Vice Chairman Fisher and Chair Janet Yellen have added their voices to the chorus. Most notable has been the change of heart by Governor. She was a prominent dove prior to the election. Now she has turned hawk in what may be one of the greatest conversions since that of St. Paul on the road to Damascus. My God. If the Fed does not raise rates at the March FOMC meeting, it will surprise financial markets. And it will damage the Fed's remaining credibility. So we can assume a March rate hike is baked in. The question is, how many increases in the Fed's administered interest rates will there be this year? Fed officials are signaling 2 more for a total of 3 in 2017. For reasons I will explain, 2 more rate increases may not be enough yet. So I don't know. I'm going to watch this. I know when Obama was president and they tried to raise things, the economy was going in a downward spiral. So I don't know what this means now. So we're going to watch this and see what happens. I don't know. There's something with the debt ceiling coming up on March 15th. What's today? Today's the 13th. Tomorrow's Tuesday, the 14th. So I don't know. So that's where I'm at with this. But we're going to watch it. I want to make it clear, I'm not an economist. I don't pull myself up as an economist. So I just watch things, and then we make observations. I'm going to watch that. And now briefly into this case, this Sudan case, because I'm very interested in this, because we got this thing going on that I showed. I believe there is some significance to it. What there is at this point, I don't know. Is this one thing? That's Omar al-Bashir of Sudan with the clock boy. What the heck is Omar al-Bashir taking a picture with the clock boy? The guy that supposedly built this clock he was I don't know if he's born in America, his father was from Sudan, I don't have no idea. But I'm trying to find out more information. We're going to get to the bottom of this whole thing. About Sudan, Omar al-Bashir, Obama's brother, I have no idea. We're going to check this out, because then I found this article and some of the things that we've been talking about. By the way, I didn't get a chance to finish the material support board. They get ready for this so-called storm. Hopefully the storm doesn't happen, but I'll have it done by tomorrow. So the new board, I'm going to update the board, the material support board, because this goes into, and I'm going to add this tomorrow, National Review, the Blind Sheiks prosecutor, Andrew McCarthy. The article, Obama's Cash for Jihad program. Really interesting. Really, 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 really interesting. So we're going to hit this tomorrow with the Sudan case. Because I'm going to read the Sudan case more, and I'm going to get some articles to see where the articles take us with the Sudan case. I'm going to go into some more data. So we'll see what happens. Where this takes us, I don't know. But I'm interested. I don't know what this means. This could be nothing. I don't know. This could mean nothing, this picture. I don't know. But I found it odd. Omar al-Bashir is wanted in the ICC, the International Criminal Court. Weapons against humanity. He has human rights violations. He had a coup d'etat in '89, and I think it's South Sudan. He's involved in that Darfur issues over there that Angelina Jolie and George Clooney was talking about, the two lefties. So we'll see. I find it very odd, because we know the clock boy is conceivably not real, and Omar al-Bashir is a Muslim Brotherhood, the highest ranking Muslim Brotherhood. Well, I shouldn't say that, because Erdogan is also Muslim Brotherhood. He's the prime. I think he's the prime minister or the president. I think he's the president. The president of Turkey. I don't know, there's a prime minister and a president. So he's one of those. So because we're going to get into Turkey too. So Sudan is a pivotal spot. The reason why I'm going into Sudan for many reasons, because also I'm very interested to see what this Osama bin Laden, because I know Osama, see this is, right now we're talking about Osama bin Laden, it's like 96, 97, 98. A conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing was Osama bin Laden with Ayman al-Zawahiri. See with mainstream intelligence, you got the Hamas, which is according to nctc.gov, Hamas is the militant branch of Muslim Brotherhood, and Al-Qaeda in mainstream media, mainstream intelligence community, militant branch. And Ayman al-Zawahiri, right now, supposedly he's still alive. He's very old. They prop him up in pitches and in videos. And Osama bin Laden was as well as he was a member of according to Ayman al-Zawahiri on Egyptian television, Osama bin Laden was a member of the Saudi Arabia branch of Muslim Brotherhood. So, just to give you a backdrop, now Sudan, it's interesting because Sudan has strong history with Iran, but they're in the middle because Sudan is Muslim Brotherhood, that's a Sunni sect, strong relations with Iran. I have some articles, and we're going to bring them into as we get involved in the case. Some articles that have the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps helping in the 80s Omar al-Bashir on his coup d'etat in Sudan. So we'll see what happens. And then as we get closer to today, there's some articles from some big publications that claiming that Sudan has broken away from diplomatic ties with Iran and have moved towards Saudi Arabia, because now, and we're going to use an example how Yemen has they call it a sectarian war, Sunnis versus the Shia, and so Yemen is one example of that. But what I found interesting, and I'm going to reserve that because I don't know much about Yemen yet. Right now we're finding that Iraq has become, and I'm going to get more data to see if that's really true, and see if that's statistically significant, that Iraq conceivably has become an Iranian colony. That, I think we're close on that, because there's some reports coming out in the fight, in the struggle in Mosul, that Hezbollah is actually wearing Iraqi special forces uniforms. So that's off the hook, right? All it takes us, because with Sudan, right, that claims that I'll just give you the reason why I'm looking at this, because Egypt is a very geopolitically strategic country in the landscape of North Africa, Middle Eastern region. So Turkey, which is now looking like the Sunni, the Muslim Brotherhood, Islamic State, and obviously Iran, which I believe is going to be the ISIS state, is going to be the Islamic State. They are going to be the hegemony, regional power, I believe, in the North African, Middle Eastern region. Sudan, Erdogan, speaks highly of Omar al-Bashir, and Sisi, the prime minister of Egypt that did the coup d'etat on Morsi, is supporting the opposition to Omar al-Bashir. So it's interesting. There's some evidence to show that Sisi is supporting the opposition to al-Bashir. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how this unfolds. So this is a very interesting strategic. So I want to get a little history in Sudan. Reports before Obama left that he was considering, or he actually did lift sanctions, because Sudan is a world state sponsor of terror, according to National Counterterrorism Center website, nctc.gov. And Obama conceivably lifted or was considering lifting sanctions on Sudan, with Omar al-Bashir. So we'll see. All right, just to give you a little backdrop on why we're going there. Now, we'll cover this for a few minutes, because I want to go live on Scope, and then I'm going to bring in tomorrow. I'm going to have this board updated because of the storm and everything. I was running around like a loony all day, getting the water and stuff like that. So they were saying the power lines maybe or whatever. So tomorrow, definitely update the board. We'll get into the board. We'll get into the Blind Sheik's prosecutor, Andrew McCarthy of National Review. We'll get into his article, Obama's Cash for Jihad program. And then we're going to continue with the Sudan case. So I'm going to read a little bit more on this. We'll comment on it, and we'll move forward. I'm going to do a little overview on what we read yesterday, and then go into something new. So here's the article. This is the article. It's the case. It's a decision. It's the decision of James Owens and quite a few number of plaintiffs versus the Republic of Sudan. This is, I believe, the data in here is statistically significant. They go in deep. They go into the minutia. These cases go in there. This is real deal Holyfield stuff. So, like we talked about last night, the Sudanese defendants were served, and the Iranian defendants were served in 2009. So this is Iran and Sudan that the complaint is against. So the Republic of Sudan and the Ministry of Interior of the Republic of Sudan and the Republic of Iran and the Iranian Ministry of Information and Security. So basically, okay, so now we're going to get to some facts. All right. The government of the Islamic Republic of Iran has a long history of providing support for terrorist organizations, Al Qaeda, etc. And throughout the 90s, at least, Iran regarded Al Qaeda as a useful tool to destabilize U.S. interests. We know all this. There has been the government of Iran aided, abetted, and conspired with Hezbollah, Osama bin Laden, Al Qaeda to launch large-scale bombing attacks against the United States by utilizing sophisticated delivery mechanisms of powerful suicide truck bombs. And Hezbollah, a terrorist organization based principally in Lebanon, had utilized this type of bomb in devastating 83. We talked about this, 83 attacks, like in Nairobi and other U.S. embassies in the North African region. Through Hezbollah, see Hezbollah, and this is the reason why we blogged Hezbollah on my site. Hezbollah is, and I'm going to update that very shortly as well. I know I talk about it, but I just want to make sure I get all the information before I actually do it. So basically, the Iranian defense provided material support to Al Qaeda in the 1998 embassy bombings and are liable for damages suffered by the plaintiffs. That's what they're claiming. And now they just go into the relationship. And we've talked about this in the Shadow Commander article about the relationship between magazine. We talk about the relationship between Iran, the Iranian Quds Force, General Soleimani, and the Hezbollah, they call them the Party of God. So deep. So, and that's where we are right now. So Iranian support for terrorism remains a significant issue dividing Tehran and Washington, D.C. And Tehran is unlikely to conduct terrorism directly against the U.S. So that's, well, I don't know about that because, this case came out, and then we had 2011, where actually the Iranian Quds Force was plotting with an Iranian American on the southern border, and they busted him in. They busted the Iranian American Mansour Abbas, getting ready to take another plane back to Mexico. They busted him in JFK, and he was conspiring with the Iranian Quds Force to Mexican drug cartel to whack Saudi ambassador to the United States in D.C. So I don't know. So basically, in the 90s, Iranian support for terrorists extended to beyond Hezbollah to Al Qaeda. Dr. Matthew Levitt, he's an expert witness on the state sponsorship of terrorism, specifically Iran, Hezbollah, and Al Qaeda. He talks about the National Islamic Front. Now, Hassan al-Turabi was this guy here. Now, in this article, he put together, it was like a meeting of all of these radical Islamists in Palestinian, because I want to find this, because Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Egyptian Islamic Jihad. I know Blind Sheikh is from one of these. I think he's from the Egyptian Islamic Jihad. He got thrown out of Egypt because of terrorist activities. He was on the Anwar al-Sadat assassination. He was a defendant. He know what his defense was? The Quran. For real. Andrew McCarthy will confirm that. Al-Qaeda, Sudanese radicals, Iranians, Lebanese, Hezbollah were all invited and attended. So this al-Turabi's conference, it was one of these meetings where Iranian officials, Hezbollah officials, all of these radical Islamist officials were meeting and seeing how ranking Al-Qaeda Sharia Council member, they wanted to focus on a common enemy, being the United States, the West, United States. So in the 90s, they had this meeting of the minds of all these radical Islamist groups in Sudan. I didn't know that till last night. And it was what the first thing that came to my mind with this whole thing was Obama's violent extremism symposiums, where he actually blacked out the media blackout of the White House. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, there were at least two. And you didn't know, the media didn't know who was actually attending these violent extremism symposiums, like Mohammed Magid, an unindicted co-conspirator on the Holy Land Foundation trial, or Omar Ahmed from CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations. Mohammed Magid was from the Islamic Society. They are unindicted co-conspirators on the biggest money laundering scheme for terror in this nation's history, the Holy Land Foundation trial. And that case exposes the objectives and the missions of Muslim Brotherhood and the infiltration of Muslim Brotherhood. It's really crazy. Through the 501c3s, and many of them were approved by none other than. So the plot thickens with this whole thing. But anyway, al-Turabi's policies therefore resulted in exchange of ideas, and Iran's role in Sudan grew at the same time. The Sudanese government invited bin Laden to Khartoum, and if I'm not mistaken, Abashir is from Khartoum. There's a tie, a strong tie anyway, I know, with Khartoum and Abashir. Ali Turabi invited the president of Iran. This guy just passed away, Hojjatul Islam, to visit Sudan in '91 to support al-Turabi's goal of mending the Shia-Sunni divide in order to present a united front against the West. Wow, what an objective that is. Iran also maintained a delegation office in Khartoum that was run by Sheikh No. Interesting. I know a Numani, to facilitate relations between governments and convert Sunni Arab Muslims to the Shia sect. In addition, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, an Iranian state organization, assists the terrorist organizations abroad, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. In Khartoum, connection with the Sudanese intelligence services. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps was founded shortly in '79, we know that, along with the Ministry of Iranian Security, of Intelligence of Iran, the MOIS, Ministry of Intelligence and Security, the Iranian Ministry of Security, and they were designated by the U.S. Treasury Department as a terrorist entity because the Ministry of Intelligence and Security, the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence and Security, was sanctioned because they gave, this is Iran, to the group called Al Qaeda in Iraq. According to mainstream intelligence, who is Al Qaeda in Iraq? ISIS, right? So according to the U.S. Treasury Department, the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence and Security gave $1 to $2 million for an indefinite period of time to the Al Qaeda in Iraq, and they gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to a terrorist called Yassin al-Suri. Why do I talk about Yassin al-Suri all the time? Because he's one of the Al Qaeda affiliate facilitators that lives in Iran. It's a Sunni, part of a Sunni militia that lives in Iran. Think about that for a minute. His presence in Khartoum, Sudan, was made possible by a relationship between the government of Sudan and the government of Iran. Sudanese intelligence service also facilitated the linkage between Al Qaeda, Hezbollah, and representatives of Iran, and was strengthened by Al Qaeda's move to Sudan. The State Department's, United States State Department's annual report on patterns of global terrorism in early 90s, Sudan's ties to Iran, the leading state sponsor of terrorism, continued to cause concern during the past year. Sudan served as a convenient transient point, meaning safe haven for Iranian-backed extremist groups. Iranian ambassador in Khartoum, Kamal, was involved in the 79 takeover in Tehran. Wow. Guided Iranian efforts in developing the Lebanese Hezbollah group while he served as Iran's top diplomat in Lebanon in the early 80s. His presence illustrated the importance of Iran that Iran places on Sudan. Iran provided substantial training and assistance to Al Qaeda leading up to embassy attacks in '98, and provided security for one prominent meeting between Hezbollah's chief, we talked about this guy. Look at this. First time I'm reading this. This guy in the New Yorker magazine article. The Shadow Commander. Ahmed Mukhija. His father is Satori, the senior official of the Iranian Quds Force in Lebanon. He's a very close confidant to the general Soleimani, Satori, but he died in the Syria civil war. So Ahmad Mukhija and bin Laden in Sudan, so they met. And Ali Mohammed at a hearing, listen to this is crazy, at a hearing in, what time is it? Okay, and I'll close this out because this is a really great stuff. Ali Mohammed's plea in the U.S. District Courts of the Southern District on October 20th, 2000, this is less than a year from September 11, 2000, was asked to describe in his own words why he believed that he was guilty of crimes out of the embassy attack. Ali Mohammed responded he was aware of certain contacts between one Al Qaeda and a jihad organization on one side and Iran and Hezbollah on the other side. He arranged security for a meeting in Sudan between Mughania Ahmed Amu and Hezbollah's chief, and bin Laden. Hezbollah provided explosives training for Al Qaeda and a jihad One jihad, Iran supplied Egyptian jihad with weapons. Iran also used Hezbollah to supply explosives that were disguised to look like rocks. Iran was helping train Al-Qaeda operatives and Al-Qaeda personnel in Sudan in the early 90s. Dr. Matthew Levitt is the expert witness, explained that known Al-Qaeda operatives had significant relationships with Iran. For example, Mustafa Hamid, throughout the period we're talking about here, throughout the 90s, was one of Al-Qaeda's primary points of contact to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The Department of Treasury designated Hamid as a specially designated global terrorist, noting specifically he was one of Al-Qaeda's senior leaders living in Iran, and working closely with the IRGC, the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In the mid-90s, Mustafa Ahmed reportedly negotiated a secret relationship between Osama bin Laden and Iran. Wow. I'd love to get the source on that one. Wow. That's unbelievable. Allowing many Al-Qaeda members safe transit to Iran to Afghanistan. Afghanistan and Iran are neighbors. And Pakistan is, if I'm not mistaken, is above. They're neighbors of Iran as well. So I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to go to my live show. This is Frankie Russo. It's really great stuff, man. And tomorrow, I promise you, we're getting into the material support board. I got the Blind Sheik's prosecutor, Andrew McCarthy's article on Obama. I found it when I went through my papers the weekend. Obama's Cash for Jihad program. Really interesting, and it touches on a lot of things that we've been raising up at 77 WABC for 143 shows and all those pre-shows, and here at a Brooklyn Frankie Russo show. This is the Frankie Russo show coming straight out of Brooklyn. I'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe, stay cool. Hopefully we won't have to do a lot of shoveling. Frankie Russo show, yeah. I'll see you tomorrow night, hopefully earlier. Hopefully like 8:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30. And I'll see you in the future.